What's up, guys? Dave Amison here. Redoing my life story. So, last video doesn't have too much of it covered, so I'm just going to go through everything. Minus my stepmom. I realize it's tough not to tell my life story and go on rants about my stepmom. So, I made stepmom over in those videos, and this is just going to be everything else. So, a little light on my mom. Alright, my mom's disorder started affecting her around when I was born. So, all I remember was her a little different, like the different way she was. And so my earliest memories are of my mom going crazy on my dad, and my dad getting frustrated and aggravated and breaking a lamp. I'll go into the story. So I'm 3. It's the first memory I have. I remember pretty good. I'm running through the house hyper. I'm a little 3-year-old, hyperactive. And I was happy about something. I just remember being happy. And then I run in like the hallway, and my parents come in on the other way from the kitchen, and my mom's going crazy on my dad, like pretty, like not screaming, but close to screaming. And then my dad was just really pissed off. So my dad's walking, she's following him, and then my dad turns around, grabs this big vase, and just shatters it in the wall. He doesn't know I was over there, but he shattered it in like the middle of the hallway, and I must have been like 6 feet away. I wasn't that far away. I was like 6, 7 feet away, and I remember just going from that happy feeling and going to like a second later, like feeling like, what the hell is going on? Like, that was scary. And that memory, I hate it because I think that's my clearest memory because it was trauma when I was little. So I remember that detail. I can like play it in my head like it's a video, and I can hear the sound of that lamp breaking, and I can hear my mom just screamed at the top of her lungs after that, and that scream, I just remember I can hear it. But then I run to my room, I slam the door shut, I go in bed, I put my face in the pillow, and then my parents are arguing about them doing that in front of me. So my mom's getting on my dad about breaking the lamp, and my dad's getting on my mom about going crazy on him. Then I think one of my parents came in the room. I don't remember too much. I think my mom came in and tried to talk to me. But yeah, that's the first memory. And then my parents split when I was like 4. I remember a couple other fights that aren't too bad. My dad threw my mom's purse out the window, and my mom asked me to get it at like a truck stop. I don't know. It was just craziness. And so I'm 4. My parents get divorced. I know my dad sat me down and told me they were getting divorced, but I was 4, so I was probably like, okay. But my mom takes me, my brother, and my sister to court to get sympathy from the judge, and it worked. She got a lot of sympathy from the judge, and I was 4, and then it really hits me that I'm like, it's in the heat of court, like it's going on, like my mom's here, my dad's here, and I'm like on the side, and I'm just going to my brother. I'm like, what's happening? And he's like, mommy and daddy aren't gonna be together anymore. And I remember I really didn't like that feeling afterwards. Like I had anxiety, like I don't know if it's pain, anxiety. I just remember I didn't like how I felt afterwards because it started hitting me in the heat of court that my parents are getting divorced. Hey, you see the tension in the air. Yeah, so my dad goes. My mom was a little more on the depressed side for a while. I felt really bad, like thinking back, like she was pretty depressed. And my mom's a good person. I love my mom. But all right, so I'm 5. I think I get introduced to Susan. I don't think I was 6. I think it was 5. I know they met like 6 months after. I don't know if they met maybe before, but 3 to 6 months after my dad got divorced. I meet Susan, and she comes over to my dad's apartment for dinner. So all I remember is I broke a lamp, like I was moving seats, but I remember I was really uncomfortable with Susan there. I don't know why, because I was just little, I guess, but I didn't like Susan. Like, it's not that I didn't like her, it wasn't anything, it's just like I got like anxiety, because I'm like, wait, what's going on, mom? Wait. And I break the lamp, and then I run and go hide in my dad's room. And I thought my dad was gonna come get me because I just didn't want to, I felt weird out there with her. And Susan comes, and I mean, my dad always points out how nice that was, but like, I, I guess that was nice of her to do that. But like, she was the reason why I was in the other room. I was just uncomfortable, so like I didn't go back out with her, but um, whatever. I don't really remember what happened after that. And then I think my next pretty decent memory I'm running up now. We're living with my dad. My dad lives in Connecticut with Susan at her apartment, and I'm running up the stairs, and I run by the kitchen, and like the sink's kind of facing almost the doorway to the stairs. Like, so Susan's doing dishes, and she's pissed off like she is 95% of the time, and she's rubbing dishes. I'm running by. I remember I was happy, just like that first memory. I'm just happy running around. I just loved it. And then she looks at me and she goes, "Grr." She growls at me, and I'm like, fucking 5 or 6. I'm pretty sure I'm 6, and I remember the thought that went through my head. I'm like, wait, animals growl. She's not an animal, is she? Or maybe her dad's an animal, or her mom's an animal. Like that actually, like I'm trying to figure out what's going on because it was so weird for a 6-year-old to experience like such a weird thing happening from a step parent. Beer's helping me with this. so, so I remember like 6, 7. I remember when I was like little, like 6, 7, 8. I always noticed I always like talking at dinner. I don't know why. I liked speaking at dinner when I was little, and I was always like somewhat of an airhead, learning disability, and I probably make a comment at dinner that's a little on the 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 airhead side, and then Susan would make a crack about my comment or something like anything regarding me, and then everyone would erupt in laughter, and I remember sometimes it was funny, like I don't know why I just laughed along with it, but they're all at, like my expense. And but no, I definitely remember like her stepping over the line like probably 7 times. I remember she made comments and I was like, I don't know, I didn't like the feeling. I didn't like it. And I realized like in school I never spoke up. And I'm pretty sure it's because of this, because I felt like I was gonna say something stupid and someone was gonna say something and everyone's gonna erupt in laughter. So I never liked participating in school just because I think I'm not the quickest, but I'm gonna say something stupid and everyone's gonna erupt in laughter. So I didn't want to speak in school. Like Susan affected my life in multiple ways. Like I've noticed. All right, let's not even go into Susan. All right, so those are my early memories. That's the last one. Oh god, I guess. All right, well, Susan makes all those comments at dinner, and I feel bad sometimes. All right, so let's jump to when I'm like 8 to 10. Let's go 8 to 12. And Susan is just Susan. Like she always still like grunted. She always would like mutter something under her breath by me. Like I guess that was an easy target when I was little. She definitely like even to this day she'll like mutter something under her breath when I'm by her or just I don't fucking know, just be grumpy. I've heard my stepmom make a deep breath like that 1,000 times. So evil, but Oh, just when I got left back in second grade, okay? I'm a November baby, so I was either 6 months ahead or 6 months behind. My dad and Susan come in my bedroom, and they sit me down, and I remember something was weird about Susan. She seemed so engaged. At the time, like, I didn't even realize what she was doing. I just have the memory of it in my head, and so Susan sits down, she puts her hands, like, all nice, and she goes, yeah, like, she's really, like, getting into this conversation and really, like, showing like emotion and and I think Susan told me like, "Oh, Davia, you have to be left back in second grade. You're gonna have to do second grade again." And my dad and Susan leave thinking I'm gonna be upset, but I was actually happy. Like I didn't like that grade. I didn't have many friends. Like I got left back and I made all these friends and it was great. But thinking back and now knowing the history with my stepmom, I'm pretty sure she enjoyed telling me I was getting left back in second grade. Like she felt she was different. She's never so engaged in a conversation with me or so into something with me. I really think that woman's sick and she enjoyed telling me I was getting left back in second grade. Like it was gonna hurt me. I was happy. But so let's keep going. So all right, 8 to 12. I was a good soccer player. Like I just love playing soccer. I was hyperactive. I love running around. I hated sitting down. All right, so slowly 8, 9. I'm like 9 or 10, and I'm good enough to go to the next level to like Premier or there was travel, and then there was Premier Select. ODP, there was like the next level, and I was pretty much always the best kid on my team, pretty much. Not to brag, I'm just saying. And then I went to the Premier League, but it cost more money. And I remember hearing my dad and Susan arguing over over that, like spending extra money. And Susan, I heard her saying a couple times, well, we didn't pay thousands of dollars for Gen S. And then my dad would be like, well, it's an investment for college. And I heard them making this argument several times. And he's like, Gen S wasn't as good as Dave is. Like, I love playing soccer, I love running around. And I remember hearing him fight about that. I guess it did eventually pay. And I remember Susan's dog broke her ankle around that time. Or the dog got caught in a tree or something. Oh my god! And Susan, they paid $3,000 for an operation for the dog. Like, I understand dogs are great, and it was Susan's dog and everything, but $3,000? Holy crap! I understand. I'm a big dog person, and that might be worth it if you had the extra money. But the dog was already like 9, 10. Like, I don't know, whatever. That's that story. Um, and then I remember, like, if I needed soccer shoes, I used to go to my dad normally first, because my mom always never had the money. So I go to my dad, I need soccer shoes, and Susan would get on my dad about saying no and going to your mom, and they give my mom all that money. So whatever, I'm 7, 8. I'm like, Mom, I need soccer shoes. I don't have the money. Go ask your dad. I go to Dad. Hey, I need soccer shoes still, and go ask your mom. Like, I remember going back and forth 5 times, maybe 2 or 3 times. And a 7 or 8 year old kid, like, how does that make you feel? That no one wants to buy you. You love soccer. You obviously love it, and no one wants to buy you shoes. No one wants to do this for you, do that for you. Like, I'm just like, hey. And then some memories of my mom would always write crazy notes to give to my dad, and I remember our house, and I would walk down with a note, and I remember several times, maybe 5, 6 times. I'm walking down to the car. I'm halfway there. My mom comes out, starts going crazy on my dad, and I'm just like, just an awkward moment where mom's going crazy. It's a nice peaceful day, and my dad is just like, hey, hey, alright. And I don't know, my mom, like, she would go on these rants, about people, you know, she's somewhat paranoid, but like, I'm 8, and I remember, like, realizing my mom, that's just my mom. And I'm watching her, like, I'm watching TV in my room, and the door's open, and then the living room's there, and the big window, and where she likes to go on her rant. And I was just laying there watching. Like, I've seen her do it several times before, but I never really got it. And when it hit me at, like, 8, I'm like, she's really, like, there's something going on that's not normal up there, and it sucks, but that's life, you know? Some people are like that, some people aren't. So my mom was always pretty late for things. I remember, like, I've had some important things from like 8 to 12, and like it starts at 4 o'clock. Mom's not home. It's like 4:15. I'm like freaking out. Then it's 4:30. And then it's 4:45. And then mom might get there between 4:45 and an hour late to the time that we have to be there. So that was stressful. And looking back, I feel really bad for my mom because she was really depressed. And I wish I could have helped her more because that was tough for her. That mental illness and depression, she can multiply it to serious extents. But all right. So where are we? My mom. Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, stuff going on with my mom. Susan, like, it was the regular. She'd mutter stuff under her breath. From like 10 to 12. I remember when I was 10 once, they had what is it? We had the neighbors over, the Flaxbarts, like the family friends, and Susan would get all, like, I guess they smoked too. I knew my parents smoked, and they were all just having a good time. And Susan, at one point, we're all sitting downstairs, like, joking, laughing. They're drinking. I'm hanging out with Jack and Nick, the two brothers, and my stepmom goes, "Oh, Dave hates me. Dave hates me. Oh, Dave hates me." And, like, laughing, like, "Oh, he hates me. He just hates me." And I'm like, wait, what? I'm like 10 years old. Like, I never, it hit me a little before then that Susan, just whatever. That's her. That's her. Just let her be. But, she's like, "Oh, he really hates me. He hates me." I'm like, really? That sounds like your excuse to hate me back. Like, like, it was weird when I was little with you, but if you were, like, accepting of me, it would have been completely different. Great. But yeah, so what else really happened? In school, I had friends. I wasn't really, like, I had a decent amount of friends, like an average amount of friends, but it wasn't until, like, sophomore year in high school where I made varsity soccer and I started playing. That like shit, like I don't know, life got really good. Like I don't know, I got so much prestige for playing soccer in high school, and it was awesome. And it was like it's like senior, like when I played my sophomore year, like seniors would come over, give me high fives, be like, "Yeah, you're the man." I'm like, "Cool," and I get high fives and shit. And one time the bleachers chanted my last name. I had to mark up this senior who was on what is it, the U.S. team or something. He was disgusting. But like for 40 minutes, I didn't let him touch the ball, and I was a sophomore. I was really good at guarding somebody where I would not let them touch the ball the entire game. Uh, that's fun. So like high school was awesome. Like I was pretty popular because I was friends with all the athletes. Like there was a mutual respect with me and most of the athletes. Like I had a good amount of friends. Like junior year, I was voted prom king. I think it was mainly because everyone felt bad I got in a car accident and can't play soccer anymore. But whatever. I still had a good amount of friends. And yeah, um, I get in a car accident my sophomore year, and yeah, I get in a bad car accident going from soccer. I don't remember it for a long time. This is what my memory was. I got off. I was coming home from practice, like one of the first times with the car by myself. I pass an exit, like I'm going on another road, and I take a back road to get home. And I'm on the phone with my dad, and I go, "Okay, Dad, I know where I am." Click. Then I wake up in a hospital bed 2 weeks later, having no idea what happened about the accident. Now my dad was telling me while I was in a drug induced coma, like what was going on, and some of it got through. So when I woke up, I knew where I was, what was going on. I was in the intensive care unit, whatever. I don't know how I heard that, but whatever. He just was telling me every day, I guess. Oh my god, my dad said he that was. I feel terrible for my parents because for 3 days I wasn't stable. Like a priest came, gave me my last rites. I had 3 brain contusions. Not a broken bone. I would have rather broken every bone in my body than get a brain injury, but whatever. So, what is it? So I'm in the hospital. 5.5 weeks I'm in the hospital. And I wake up after 2 weeks. They get me out of the drug-induced coma. But I have a trach in my neck. You can't speak with a trach in your throat. You can't whisper. You can't make a sound. And that was weird for like 2.5 weeks. I'm trying to talk to my friends. Um, but yeah, honestly, like I think the night of the accident, like I didn't drink enough water or whatever. I wasn't hydrated, this or that. And I honestly think I remember like anxiety on the ride home before I got in the accident. I remember thinking about I was thinking about like I'm not gonna make it in college. I'm not gonna make it in soccer. I'm just not that good. And I remember like what at the stoplight, like I went to myself like, what the fuck am I talking about? What am I thinking about right now? Like you're a good soccer player. You're going just do your thing. So I think I got bipolar symptoms that night I got in the accident. So maybe I went a little faster than I should have and got more of like a little rush from it. But yeah, whatever. So well, just to get that out the way, 2.5 years later, I have a dream about the accident, and I remember some of it. I wake up with like half the memory, like still kind of fuzzy, and I remember seeing an SUV, and then I had a dream 4.5 years after the accident. I remember the whole accident. I remember the whole thing now. And some woman, so I have my brights on, I have a Geo Prism, and I'm coming in Booneyville. It's like 10:20 at night on a weekday, and some woman comes around the bend with her brights on in an SUV. So I have like crappy brights, and she comes around the bend, but her car was dead center. Like I remember seeing her bumper and the double yellow right in the middle of the road, and I remember we got like a yard and a half from each other, and her car is dead like center of both lanes. Like the double yellow was right in the middle of her car. So I cut the wheel. We're honestly like a couple of yards from a head-on fucking like I'm here. She's like this. We're almost a head-on collision, and I cut the wheel to the right and lose control of the car and go down and hit a tree. And I remember getting out and I was holding my head and I remember it hurt a lot. I was like, holy shit. And I was like dazzled, but she was like, why did you slam on your brakes? I remember yelling that, and then she got on the phone with somebody. She's like, "Oh, there was just an accident, blah blah blah." She called it in, and I remember thinking, "I'm like, oh god, I hit my head all the time." Oh, and I was like, "But this is different." I remember dropping to the ground, and that memory fades out. But that was the only thing. Like, I think I got out of the car, and I was just like, just fucked up. Like, um, but then, like 3 days after I woke up, a couple days after I woke up, some random woman comes into the IC my room at the hospital, and she goes, "Oh, thank God! Oh, thank God!" Like an Italian woman. She was like a pretty middle aged woman, and I remember her standing there for like 20 minutes, staring at me. I can't talk. And in my head, I'm just like, who is this person? This is not family. This is not friends. This is not anyone. And now I'm thinking, after having both those dreams, that it's a woman in the SUV that came around the bend in the middle of the fucking road, and I lost control. Remember, she felt really bad. Just you can hear in the tone of her voice. And yeah, that's that's that. So the first doctor seriously just tells me I can't play soccer anymore. Or what's he say? Yeah, he's like, oh, I think the first couple, like it didn't. It took like 4 doctors to sink in. And the first doctor was like, yeah, well, maybe like in a year or something. And then they're trying to be nice about it. And they're like, you can always get a second opinion. And I saw 6 doctors. My dad, I thank him for doing that, because that let it like accept, like me slowly accept it, that was that. And the doctors are trying to be nice because they probably heard, I don't fucking know, like that was, but the 6th doctor, like I came late, like I don't know, I was a kid, so I came like 25 minutes late, and I think he was I got into his lunch break, so I pissed him off. So he's not nice this time. He goes to me and he does like all those things. He's like, okay, you have holes in your brain. Every time you get hit or get a concussion, those holes get bigger. And he's like, you can't play soccer ever again. Like, I think I pissed him off, but he wasn't nice about it. And I think I saw him before too. But he said straight up, listen, you have holes in your brain. Every time you get a concussion, they get bigger. And I just started crying. I just started crying and crying and crying and crying and crying. And honestly, I was a mess. I was a mess. And there's some woman in the waiting room, like she felt so bad for me. And I was just crying. She's like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "I can't play sports ever again." And I love sports. And she felt so bad for me, and I was just crying. And she was like, "When God shuts doors, He opens windows," or something. What's that saying? Shit. When God closes doors, He opens windows, or something. I don't know, some saying like that. I'm like, "Oh my God." Oh my God, I have this crazy moment. I'm still fucking devastated. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gay. That's what's been wrong with me. That's why everything's going all fucked up. So I went kind of crazy. And I'm like, oh my God, I must be gay. I don't know. I guess because I had bi tendencies, I remember being attracted to guys here and there. I don't know. But that's why I had that crazy moment where I bugged out. I was like, oh my God, I must be gay. That must be it. And I thought that was what I was doing wrong. And that's why I was suffering. And that's why my life was all fucked up. And that's why everything's been so shitty. And so I have a crazy moment with that. I was just pretty much going crazy. Like when that started sinking in, I started more like slowly and slowly having more bipolar symptoms. Like I remember going to parties with my friends and I would just run my mouth the entire time, and they would get so pissed off because it's just so fucking annoying. I understand it probably was annoying, but I would just start running my mouth, and then one by one I had falling outs with all my friends. Like Jeff and Roy were my 2 close friends, so like it took for them like a while, like a little while. But I was angry. I was angry at the world. I was angry at life. I was angry that woman. I was angry about a lot of stuff. Oh, since 5th grade, I wanted to be the captain of the senior soccer team. That accident happened after my junior year, after my junior season, which was great. It was my senior year. I could not play. Not only that, I had to watch the senior year go by. I had to watch them wear jerseys. I had to go to school. I went to 2 games and I left crying after like an hour because I just wanted to be out there so bad. Those nighttime games, it just, oh my God, it's such a good feeling. Everyone's cheering for you. I miss it. And that was really devastating. And some kid who moved in from some other school district was captain that senior year with Josh Renner, a kid that. So I would have been captain. I was on the longest and as everyone else was captain. Oh, and Yeah, so you gotta understand the pain to that. So I can't play sports anymore. It takes something stressful to spark your disorder. So this sparks my disorder. So very slowly and more intensely, it's honestly multiplying the pain. I was a mess for about, I don't even know, probably 8 to 16 months. I wasn't good. The first like 6 months, I was just depressed. I was just angry. I don't I had a passion. Like soccer was my outlet. Like I was really aggressive, and I used to like bully kids as a defender, and I used to just slide tackle and take people out all the time legally. And I loved soccer, but then I couldn't play anymore, and it was an outlet. So not only am I missing it, but also it's not an outlet for me. I can't take out aggression. I can't like level a kid legally, and such a fun sport. And yeah, and I have to watch the year go by. But all my friends, one by one, slowly like falling out with this one, falling out with this one, falling out with this one. I get really pissed off for this thing. I get really pissed off for that thing. I'm just not okay. Hi. So honestly, like going back to like I don't. It honestly didn't for 6 to 8 months. It didn't feel like I couldn't believe reality was happening. Because you gotta understand, I went from being very popular, I went from having so much prestige, everybody respected me, to 6 months later, not being able to play soccer your senior year, not able to be captain, and you're the crazy kid. And all your respect, all that is gone. Do you know how many nights I wanted to die in my car? Like, I thought about this before my daughter, and I like, wow, if I died in my car accident, I would have died with all my prestige. I would have died as a fucking good soccer player. I would have never. Not everyone would have lost my respect. It was just I'm a mess at that time, so I'm going crazy like that. So like 6 to 8 months, I couldn't. It felt like every day was not a dream, but a nightmare. Like I couldn't believe this was reality. Like it was like when you're in a dream and you don't know if it's a dream or not. I was just like, is this real? Is this happening? Like it took me so long to realize what was happening, and it was so painful. It was so painful. Oh my god. Like I always thought people when they get like this over something like that, they're whiny. That's what I thought before I was diagnosed. No, it's like the worst you can feel times five. It's so shitty. I can only relate it to one feeling, to someone who doesn't have a disorder. You know when you're having that nightmare, you're having a nightmare and you know you're having a nightmare and you want to wake up from the nightmare and you're freaking out and you're just like, oh my god, wake up, I don't want this nightmare anymore. Oh my god, wake up. Okay, it's that exact same feeling when you're awake and you want to go to sleep. I'll go into all that in another video. Just suicide's never the answer. I even had nights where I contemplated, and honestly, I'm just like, this is, like this is happening, blah, blah, blah. It's painful, but I don't know. You gotta have hope. You gotta keep going. I had many nights. And the worst I got, honestly, in that period was I couldn't stop like looking at something and seeing how I could kill myself with it. Like that was the worst I ever got. I never cut myself. I never did anything like that. I never attempted suicide ever, except in jail. But that's kind of bullshit. um, yeah. So, oh my god, life's tough. All right. So painful. That was the worst I've ever felt by far. Once I like I was so fine with taking medication because I just wanted the pain to stop. That's honestly like I've been on medication for like 11, 12 years, but I've had my ups and downs. But the pain was so bad, I just wanted it to stop, and the medication helped the pain. I took the meds. I was a guinea pig for like 6 months, and it was, I tried this, I tried that, these side effects, that side effects. It's not fun, but you just got to be, honestly, if you ever get in the point where you need it, which it happens to people, you don't need it your whole life. But if you get to the point where you need it, just go go to your doctor, try these different drugs, and be completely honest with your doctor. Okay, tell them I don't like this because of this. This doesn't do this because of this. This is good because of this. Just be honest, because there's all these different drugs, and some people have genetically like respond better to different medications, and just go along with the flow. I'm telling you, will get better and better and better. And anyone with bipolar disorder, I really recommend a combination. If it gets to that, a combination of a mood stabilizer and an antidepressant. So it just pretty much doesn't. It helps you from going up and it helps you from going down. Like, if you're on an antidepressant, like a good chunk of like the multiply like 3 to 5 times feeling shitty, like you can't feel that. So if you're gonna feel that 3 to 5 times shitty, which I recommend anybody who is suffering that bad, just try an antidepressant. It's not the end of the world. I promise you, you will feel much better. You won't hit really low points. It'll just numb the bad. So you don't feel it. It's just better. So after soccer, falling out, all my friends, becoming the crazy kid, like I was depressed. I was depressed and lonely, and I had so much free time without sports. And poker was there at 18. I was like, oh shit, poker was there for me, and I got obsessed with it. And I was like, wow, this game's fun. And for 3 years, every day I wanted to get better. I want to be a professional poker player so bad. And I pretty much got to the point I was just cramming books, playing online, working on my game. Like I got better and better. I remember having an arsenal of tricks for Hold'em, and it was just fun, and I loved it. So after 2.5 years of, you know, after my accident and everything, I got to the point where I was good enough at poker where like my life was like alive again. Like the spark to my world was alive because I was a good poker player. And after 2.5 years, I stopped taking the antidepressants. Like I eased off of them, and I was just like, I don't need them. I'm happy. And I was just playing poker, and like 10 months later, well, I was with Ali for 3 months and 3 weeks, and we broke up for a week in that time. So we did not have too much of a strong foundation. She tells people we were together 6 months. No, we were together 3 months and 3 weeks, and we broke up for a week in that time. And she was just an insecure, damaged girl. That's probably what I liked about her. She was damaged. Just to point out, people can click on a damage level like next level. So what's going on in my life? So I get back on my feet. Poker's great again. Then I knock up my girlfriend. Okay. Then I knock up my girlfriend at 20. Like we dated from like 19 to when I turned 20. Knock her up at 20. Oh my God, does my whole world go down. It feels like your life is getting flushed down a toilet. Like it's just, you have no idea what's going on. I've never been so scared of anything in my life, especially with my childhood and all my issues. I was so against this because you're creating, life is being created in, uh, life is being created, and it's going to be already the disadvantage that their parents aren't going to be together. Like, trust me, the 9 months she was pregnant, I was a mess, and I didn't trust me. Most of the time, I didn't want it to happen, and I'm 20 years old, and I didn't want to have a kid with this girl. Not I didn't want to give it to anybody, and that was just such a mess. And